The Arts and Letters Club was a men's club at that time, but several times a year, the club was open to wives and family members for special occasions, like the Spring Review. I was fortunate to be able to come to this beautiful building as a child, and I have wonderful memories of being here in those times. The building is now 129 years old. I am sure that those who gathered here over the last 129 years were very grateful to be in this location, though they may not have known its history. We wish to acknowledge the ancestral traditional territories of the Ojibwe, the Anishinaabe, and in particular, the Mississaugas of the New Credit, whose territory we are gathering on today.
So that's over to me. I'm Andrew Frederick Ross. I'm the grateful chair of N3XT, and it's been such a privilege to and an honor not only to do this virtual Zoom and take all the pivots that we've had to take because of the pandemonium of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's just been an absolute joy during these highs and lows that we've all personally and professionally been experiencing because of the stresses and strains of COVID-19 and all the ensuing troubles that have come our way, to work in unity. And when I selected the theme of unity for this national competition 2 years ago, my instinct told me that it would be timely. And as a painter, as an artist, as a creator, I lean heavily into my intuition and my instinct. And it serves me well when I listen to that quiet inner voice that guides me in serenity into beautiful channels like has occurred here with N3XT. It's been a wonderful gift to see the participants' work come in. And I want to thank the staff of the Arts and Letters Club. Fiona McEwen runs a very tight ship here, and it has been wonderful to be able to mount the exhibit. Other people will be thanked by other participants here in this presentation. But I specifically wanted to thank everyone who took a chance from across the nation and went to the trouble to not only enter N3XT and the jury process, but they chose to ship their work here. And it was a great privilege to unbox it all and see it hung. So on that, I will hand it over to the curator, Mark Huebner.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to the Great Hall of the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto. Now, officially, it's of Toronto, but today I think it's safe to say that it's of Canada, because that's where all this glorious artwork is from. Hi, I'm Mark Huebner. I am the curator of N3XT. Installing this visual art competition was one of the most intense, ambitious, and extensive in the history of the Arts and Letters Club. And the result is quite simply a unique landmark in Canadian art history. And all I can say is thank you. Thank you, N3XT artists. Your artwork is brilliant in its creative unity, even as it celebrates our differences. You are the reason N3XT withstood and just keep plowing on through the never-ending challenges presented by the pandemic. I also want to thank the families, friends, and supporters of the N3XT artists. No one creates in a vacuum, and your encouragement is essential for artists to keep exploring and expressing their vision. As curator, I'm so grateful also for the dedicated participation of the N3XT jury. Like the artists, you represent a variety of artistic backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences. Your judgment and insight has been extraordinary. So thanking each and every one of you. This body of work is powerful in its voice of unifying a nation. And I do hope to see you all participate in Next 4. And now for remarks by the Honorable Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm honored to be able to speak to all of you today from Whitehorse, Yukon, in the far northwest corner of our vast and wonderful country. And I acknowledge that I'm on the shared traditional territory of the Kwanlundun First Nation and the Tahan Quechan Council. They are two of the 14 First Nations in the Yukon. To present this national award is not only an exciting privilege, but it is thrilling on a personal level. I'm passionate about art and its impact on communities, passionate about our country of Canada. The complexities of both art and Canada are an infinite source of wonder, challenge, beauty, and contemplation. Congratulations to the Arts and Letters Club, to Andrew Ross, and to the entire group of Next organizers and ambassadors for this inspired initiative. I know it started before the pandemic engulfed us, but it's taken on an even greater meaning as we struggle through the challenges of this time. The theme of unity is apt, as in a strange way, the pandemic has united us, not just nationally, but globally, with its non-discriminating infectious path. However, some of the institutional and individual responses to the pandemic have been divisive and destructive. For as long as we are human, we will always have differences of views, of approaches, of opinions, of ways of life, and of favored solutions. This is healthy, vital, and energizing. But if we can't find overarching principles, values, and concepts that we can agree on a fundamental level, life becomes difficult. We've got to have basic ideals that unite us, like respect, love, kindness, appreciation of the gifts of nature, courage, possibilities and potential, the idea of a nation, and truth. And we need vehicles to remind us of the importance of these unifying ideals without diminishing the wonderful and necessary diversity among us as we strive in our own ways to live these ideals. Art is one of these vehicles. I heard a quote the other day attributed to Harry Belafonte. Artists are the gatekeepers of truth. We are civilization's anchor. We are the compass for humanity's conscience. Art helps us see the world, the other, ourselves, in old and new ways. Whether and how an art piece speaks to us or not is subjective. The meaning we derive from each piece depends on our own life experiences, emotions, spirituality, and visual breadth and depth. And even if a piece of art doesn't speak directly to us, we can still appreciate its message or its aesthetic value or the effort that has gone into producing it. Without art, a community is lifeless. Art is a dimension of human creativity and expression that is a connecting life force, connecting us to our history, to nature, to each other, to life events, big and small, and parts of ourselves that we may not have been aware of. I am so fortunate to be able to call Yukon my home for the last 15 or so years. And one of the reasons I love it here is because it is filled with artists. We have more artists per capita in the Yukon than anywhere else in Canada except Nunavut. The artists here are inspired by nature, the majesty of the land, the mystery of the waters, the purity of the air, the freedom of the wildlife, and the resoluteness of the forests. They are inspired too by the natural and human history of the Yukon, the Beringia, the traditional indigenous ways of living harmoniously with the land, and yes, the gold rush. And they are inspired by the future possibilities the Yukon holds as we grow and embrace many more new Canadians than in the past. Artists thrive here, and those of us who are not artists appreciate living amongst them, and we continue to support them. And this is what this national juried competition has achieved. It has encouraged emerging artists from across our great country to create works to the best of their abilities on the positive theme of unity, and it's allowing the rest of us to support them by appreciating their creations. I took a virtual tour of the exhibition several times. Thank you very much for that. And I do not envy the jurors. So many magnificent and interesting works. The process that N3xt has created that resulted in this broad range of exhibited works from across Canada is a success in and of itself. And now to the winning piece, 3 Walnuts by Alex Bolzan. Congratulations to Alex Bolzan on winning this prestigious national award, especially from amongst so many outstanding contributions. To me, the piece embodies the concept of diversity within unity so beautifully. 3 of the same, yet each one different. The small seed as a life force, holding within it great transformative potential. The blueprint for a life, as Alex Bolzan says. Each life unique, but connected through common origins, the elements of earth, water, and sunlight. Seeds as living things, necessary for our longer-term survival, but requiring us to be guardians, not destroyers, of our environment to allow them to grow and thrive. And the strength of the life force symbolized by the simplicity of the red, black, and white. Congratulations, Alex Bolzan, and thank you for sharing your vision and creativity with all of us. I would now like to introduce and turn it over to Catherine Ferguson, the N3xt National Ambassador from Edmonton.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Ferguson, and I am the N3xt Unity Ambassador representing the province of Alberta. I have the great honor of presenting the McLab Developments of Alberta Prize of $5,000 on behalf of Marc de la Bruyere, Managing Director of McLab Development Group. McLab is a cornerstone and driving force within Western Canada's business community and is a committed patron of the arts since the 1950s and intends to continue being so well into the next century. This award is presented as an expression of McLab's ongoing support and continued acknowledgement of the importance of Canadian artists and the richness of the Canadian art community. McLab considers freedom of expression to be one of the great gifts of living in this extraordinary country and embraces the artists whose creativity, vision, and talent make that freedom manifest. Alberta is a proud member of the Canadian landscape and welcomes the opportunity to participate in the examination of national unity as an important discussion of how we as Canadians see our unique place within Canada. McLab applauds the Arts and Letters Club for quarterbacking this exercise, with thanks to Andy Ross, N3xt Unity Chair, for his commitment of stewarding this competition through the unforeseeable challenges of the past 9 months. His commitment to this project and the bravery of its participants demonstrates the strength and dedication that weaves throughout the fabric of Canada. On behalf of Mr. de la Bruyere and McLab Development Group, I offer their deepest appreciation to all submitting artists for their consideration and support of this effort, and congratulate all of you on your submissions. It is with great pleasure that I now present the McLab Developments Alberta Prize of $5,000 to the work entitled Gasp, an acrylic on canvas painting by Ed Baptista. Ed Baptista is a driven and committed artist whose work embodies the courage and focus that allowed him to step boldly into the space to meet the subject of Canadian unity. Ed was 10 years old when he came to Canada from the Philippines in 1977. He received a scholarship and graduated from the Ontario College of Art in 1989. After his graduation from OCAD, he worked as an art director at some of Canada's top advertising agencies before deciding to become a full-time painter. Ed's next submission, Gasp, sees the human figure as a tense landscape using a vibrant palette. The figures in this work are welded in color. A sliver of air separates their mouths, a respite for air before uniting in embrace. Congratulations to you, Ed, and well done. Thank you for your glorious work. And now, I welcome Dr. Marianne Feduncu, President of the Arts and Letters Foundation.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Greetings from the lounge at the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto. I'm Marianne Feduncu, the President of the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto Foundation. It's such a pleasure to be here to present the Arts and Letters Club Foundation Award to an emerging Canadian artist. Keisha Frescu is from Coldwater, Ontario. Her submission was titled Hats Off, and you can see it here on the top. I sit among many of the entries here, but Keisha's entry is the top. I'm trying to be a little bit like Vanna White, position my hand properly, the top image above my hand. Hats Off shows the various hats that Canadians wear, from a firefighter's helmet and nurse's cap to chef's hat and an Indigenous ceremonial headdress. Her piece, done with acrylic paint and modeling paste on canvas, was part of a group of next submissions featured in an article in En Route, Air Canada's magazine. This is the third iteration of the next competition, and this is the second time that the foundation has sponsored an award. Our foundation was founded in 2014, and over the past 6 years, we've supported not only visual artists, but also musicians, playwrights, photographers, and writers. And it's so gratifying to see that even during these unusual and challenging times, creativity continues to flourish. As Maya Angelou said, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. As a writer myself, her words resonate, and I'm sure that many artists would agree. This year's theme for Next, Unity, only grew in significance as the year evolved. How many times have we heard the phrase, we are all in this together? This was also the first time the competition's scope expanded across our country, and the first year that the exhibit and awards are virtual. Congratulations to both the winners and all those who participated. Hats off as well to Andrew Ross, the Next organizing team, as well as all of our judges. And I'm looking forward to hearing about the continued success of Canadian artists in the new year and to whatever emerges next. Happy holidays. And now back to Club President Penelope Cookson.
Oh, Canada, our home.